Mr. Toastmaster. Hello, everyone. How are you all feeling? Put any emojis that comes to your that is easy to access, of course, or maybe you can unmute and then tell us that one feeling that you had in the last 1 hour of this wonderful, wonderful session or episode of How to Series.
Excellent.
Excellent. What else? I see smileys. I see what else? What else is there? Hearts. Good. That's good. That's good. Okay. So when our club board director Subramaniam and I were discussing about this very specific session, we were wondering what to do about this part of the session. We can talk about Toastmasters. We got our past district director, distinguished Toastmaster Bhupati Shankar, to help us understand how this entire Toastmasters journey would help us. More specifically, we have an education program, and that's called as Pathways. How would Pathways help you and me as members to learn and whatever the skills that we want to and grow towards our goals? One step closer or two steps closer, however it may be, how do we do that? Then when we were talking about it, we were thinking, okay, rather than getting one brain to talk about it, maybe how would it be if we can get three beautiful brains to address this very specific point? And that's exactly what this entire panel discussion is going to be about. At the outset, I will brief the entire approach, the structure of this particular panel discussion, and then take it forward by introducing every specific panelist. We then will go with questions that, like our evaluator mentioned, that are not leaked to the panelists. And the best part about this is every response that comes out is from their heart. And that's exactly what we want, about how they feel about Pathways when it comes to their experience and what they look forward to in their experience in the future as well. So as the moderator, I will introduce each panelist briefly. Once introduced, I will give each panelist 1 to 2 minutes to make an opening statement. And once the opening statement is made, the panelist will be put on spotlight along with the rest of us. And the panelist is open to share an experience specifically about Pathways or the opinion about Pathways as well. After each panelist has made an opening statement, I will then move on to generic questions that we have received from many of the registered delegates, and some of the questions which we captured from the last 1.5 hours as well. That's how we're going to give every panelist about a couple of minutes or a little more as well, depending on the intensity of the questions, to go on to respond to each of these things. After every panelist has responded to about 3 to 4 rounds of questions, we will be opening this entire audience to ask us questions. In case you have any specific question that is not addressed, you're free to put it on the chat box or address it directly to me. I will take it up with a specific panelist, or probably address it to a panelist if a specific panelist is not mentioned in your question. Is it clear? Are we all good to go? Yes, 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 yes. Excellent. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited to take this entire session forward, and we will understand how we can put the entire Pathways program, the only education program that Toastmasters International has for our growth and learning, to our progress as well. We have joined this organization, and that's pretty much how I joined this organization, to understand how this is going to help me grow as an individual. At the end of the day, it is going to help you as well. And that's how we're going to go about. To start with, one of the very first panelists that I want to call on is an engineer serving as a technology lead at Infosys. Now, this person joined Toastmasters about 5 years ago. She's a member of Infosys Toastmasters Club, SEZ, and the current president of Let's Debate Toastmasters. It's one of a unique club that we have in District 121. Not just that, she has served at various capacities, be it at the club area division or the district level as well. And most importantly, this person right now, currently, is serving as the associate PQD. Wait, PQD, have I heard that somewhere? Oh yeah, that's P, sorry. Associate PQD in the Program Quality Director's Office of District 121. She has served in various capacities, I was saying, but what is important is her experience in Pathways. She has completed one entire path and she's about to finish a second as well. She's excited about the second path, more importantly, because it is going to help her understand the nuances of humorous speaking. Yes, the path that she has chosen is engaging humor, ladies and gentlemen. With a thundering round of applause, help me welcome the person who believes individual progress is every day a person works on, a skill that every day a person works on to create a better version of himself or herself. Let's welcome Toastmaster Diksha Shetty on stage, please. Can I have Diksha on spotlight? Thank you so much, Diksha, for joining us. You may make the opening statement.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Arjun. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Can I get any emojis? Or are you all craving the evening tea and coffee to wake you up? All right. I joined Toastmasters about a little over 5 years ago. And I do say people that I started old school. That is, I started with the previous educational model that Toastmasters International used to run, the competent communicator model. And then somewhere during 2018, I took a break. I took a maternity leave. And when I came back, I got to know it was not just I who had a new baby. Toastmasters International had a new baby of educational program. So when I was told I need to choose a path within so-and-so deadline, etc., as a technology person, I did what I do best, rely on technology. Went on the website, told them, this is what I need. What do you ask me to choose? Wonderfully, the survey took all kinds of aspects into consideration and chose the path innovative planning for me. And it gave me 3 paths, and innovative planning sounded fancy enough. I took it up without knowing actually what the path entails. Going through each project, I went in with the objective, which a lot of you must have. I need to do so and so because I need to get that beautiful certificate at the end of a certain set of projects. But I ensured that we have to give certain respect to the person who created the beautiful syllabus and go through each and every aspect of it and figure out how to effectively deliver, so that at the end of it, you do not feel guilty about getting this award just for the sake of it. So unbeknownst to me, at the end of 5 levels in innovative planning, I realized that professionally too, I was getting a tad bit more innovative and could plan better. Thus is how I realized what pathways can do for you. And I hope that is what we choose to look into and explore more today. Back to you, distinguished Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diksha. Wonderful to have you as one of our panelists. The next panelist who is going to join us today is another engineer. Wow, today is Engineer's Day. Not really, but let's hope that it is going to be wonderful to have this person as well. Now, this person is one of the most reliable person in the district. Yeah, he works as a reliability practitioner by profession. That's the reason. He joined Toastmasters about 10 years ago and performed all club officer roles, area director, division director as well in the division, and served district in multiple capacities. And currently, he's serving as the club growth director of District 121. Someone who believes that progress is taking people along. He has completed a path that is called as effective coaching. And again, the best part is he's working simultaneously on 2 different paths, the second and the third path, and is in his level 2 already. Ladies and gentlemen, someone who comes from this diverse experience, let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster Subramaniam on stage, please. Distinguished Toastmaster Subramaniam for you. Subbu,
yes.
You may please make your opening statement.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun. And thank you very much for this opportunity. As Arjun was introducing me, I joined Toastmasters with a very interesting background. Having heard about Toastmasters through Akashvani, I had to wait for almost 10 years because after 10 years, I got an opportunity to attend a Toastmaster Club meeting, which is a demo meeting, which was started in my corporate organization where I was working. So this is how I joined Toastmasters. Now, with respect to my own journey, I just like Toastmaster Diksha, I joined Toastmasters many moons back, where not even we had not even heard about pathways. All we had was CCCL and ACB, ACS and ACG. So we had to do all those 40 speeches before I could complete my DTM. And in those days, just completing 10 speeches, it took me almost 2 years. And I could say that not exactly I was just going through the motions. And in fact, my Toastmasters development or my improvement, it got awakened within me once I started doing my advanced communication projects, which is starting with those advanced manuals which had 5 projects each. Entertaining speaker, how to be humorously speaking manuals. So those speeches, when I was doing those speeches, then I started looking into minor details, and I started understanding the minor aspects of how different speeches are written and how different speeches are targeted, so that we can improve in different aspects of public speaking. And I completed almost 25 speeches in 6 months, so that I could complete my DTM in a legacy program. Now, being an engineer, also being a charter president of my home club, I had to show the way. So when Pathways was introduced way back in on May 3rd, 2018, I was the first person to take the Pathways assessment in my club. And I also started icebreaker speech in Pathways. That was effective coaching. While I did my icebreaker speech, I left it there, and then I continued with my DTM journey. Once I completed my DTM journey in 2019, for next 2 years, I had been very lazy, or maybe I would say lethargic, and I took the next 2 years to complete 15 speeches. One thing which I learned in the Pathways is to quote from my mentor, DTM A.K. Prabhakara, you have Pathways evaluation and you have Pathways resource. While Pathways resource gives us information on what to do, Pathways evaluation gives us information on what not to do. It doesn't tell us exactly how to do. So in fact, it's our own bit of figuring out and growth, and how to hit a goal in between these 2 goalposts. So that is the magic of Pathways, according to me.
Wonderful, Subbu. Thank you so much for briefly explaining it to us. I love the way you concluded there, how to hit a goal between the posts, and beautiful way or an analogy is what I would say. The next panelist who is going to join us is, I would say he's the busiest person in the district. Now, he's someone who joined Toastmasters just over 10 years ago in 2011. And again, like everybody in the panel, he has almost performed every club officer role as well. Taken up the area director role, division director role, and last year he served as the program quality director. And this year, this is why I say he's the busiest person. As the district director, he's helping not one, but close to 4,000 members in the district get better in their lives. He works in Bharat Petroleum Corporation as the CEO of the Skill Development Institute. And not just that, he is the CEO of this Skill Development Institute that is called as District 121. Member of 6 different clubs, sponsored multiple clubs, someone who believes that advancing towards goals through an ethical way is what progress all about. Someone who has completed 2 different paths. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the district director, the person who is also working on the engaging humor path of our district. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished Toastmaster, Narayanan for you. Narayanan, the stage is yours for the opening statement.
Thank you, Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundar Raj. If you want, you can take the 2 minutes which you allocated for me for my introduction further. I am so much elated because of your nice introduction. I think I am audible, right? Thank you. As you mentioned, Arjun, I joined Toastmasters in 2011. At that time, as our CGD mentioned, there was a legacy system that is through which we have to pursue our educational system. One is leadership journey, and another one is communication journey. That is, through communication, we have to complete certain paths or certain projects, and through leadership also, we have to complete certain projects to get the most coveted award, Distinguished Toastmaster. And I achieved that Distinguished Toastmaster award through this legacy system in 2017. Of course, completing the leadership path as well as the communication path. But in 2017, the new educational system pathways came into picture. When any system, any new system comes, definitely there will be a reluctance among the people. It's quite obvious. Similarly, when pathways also came, there was a lot of hue and cry from the Toastmasters. It is tech savvy, it's also so much complicated and everything. I think other than the marriage, this pathways is the most controversial topic among the people in Toastmasters, because that was the topic for which Toastmasters for and against argued. But when time passed, people understand that it's a very good system which will help Toastmasters to pursue their professional and personal skills and can be practiced in their personal life as well. So now I think most of the Toastmasters accepted this pathway. Still, many of the Toastmasters have some apprehensions on this pathway. Let us clarify those apprehensions, and it is a great opportunity to have interact with Toastmasters on pathways. Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundar Raj, for giving us that opportunity. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, NM Narayanan, for briefing your experience as well. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. These are our wonderful, wonderful panelists. And may I request Sudesh to help me spotlight Diksha, Subbu, and NM, and then lastly me on the screen, please, before we start off. So one of the very first questions that I want to ask Diksha in this case is the absolute basic. You mentioned about a specific survey itself. Can I know, Diksha, from your side as to what is the importance of this particular assessment that a new member takes, and how would the suggestions that the particular assessment gives can be fit into my goals as a member?
As a new member, we generally come with a very broad requirement of being a good communicator. Then being a good communicator falls into a lot of brackets. We are not really sure what aspect we want to work on. So the survey takes into consideration a lot of different things that you might have thought of and things that you may not be thinking of currently. And then it helps you, it only advises you paths. You may choose them based on what the survey decides for you, or else you can of course go and research on your own and figure things out. But this is just an easier way of doing it rather than hearsay and just doing things based on what someone else likes or what their experience is. So this is very customized for the member who's taking it up.
Beautiful. I really love the fact that you mentioned about how customized it would be for the member. Now, Subbu, this would be something that I would love you to answer. Now, when you talk about very specific skills that I want to learn as a member, how do I really map the survey responses to the skills that I want to learn? How is it that I need to start thinking as a member to fit in these two and create a good marriage out of these two? Could you please explain more your thoughts as well, please?
Thank you, Toastmaster Arjun. In fact, when I was doing my legacy educational program, I was given very specific feedback that I need to improve on humorous, including humor in my speech. It was a very dry speech, always with the boring information. Am I audible?
Subbu, you're audible now. Subbu. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I had taken this feedback seriously. Of course, including humor is a very serious business in speech, and not all of us are able to get others to laugh at you or even smile at you. And when I took the assessment for my second path, I was very much concerned about which path I was going to take. And during that time, it was a newly introduced path, engaging humor. So when I was going through the assessment, I depending on what exactly was I was lacking. So based on that, I gave those responses, and it gave me the feedback that engaging humor, visionary communication, and we also had leadership development. So since I was very much concerned about seriously incorporating engaging humor, so I took up the engaging humor path. Again, here, I think it's up to the member on how much humor he can include. In fact, depending on each path which you choose, there are specific skill sets. Engaging humor, even though we feel or we expect that we can have engaging, humor in our speeches only if you have chosen engaging humor, but still there are few projects which concentrate on different aspects of humor. Like for example, you want to know your sense of humor. That is your first speech in level 2 of engaging humor. Again, you need to give a speech on impromptu basis, including humor in level 3. So different aspects on how comfortable you are, and once you become comfortable or once you become confident, I think it challenges you on more personal level as you go through different levels. So that is my personal experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Subbu, for specifically highlighting the way a member grows as the member progresses from one level to the other. Narayan, this is something that I want your opinion or your thoughts about. When a member is progressing from level 2 to level 3 to level 4 or so on, there are challenges that the person really needs to take upon, especially when you look at the electives. How would I know as a new member understand which elective would be really useful for the particular path or the skills that I want to develop? How do I really decide on that? Could you please help us understand that?
Thank you, Arjun, for that question. When a new member joins Toastmasters, the first thing the club or the VP Education has to do is to allocate important. Because as you said, a member may not be in a position to know about his own strength and weakness. More than that member, a mentor can help him, especially regarding the elective. For projects 3, 4, and 5, there are so many options. Just for example, when he take that level 3, I mean level 3, he may get near about 15 electives. It depends on the path he selects, of course, but near about 13 to 15 projects are available. Which one is the best for him? That's the question. See, he can go through all these projects, and of course, he can come to 4 or 5 projects in a particular level which he likes or which he want to pursue, because the professional or personally, those may help him as a good communicator or a good leader. So from those things, how can he move forward? Definitely, he can take the help of his mentor. By sitting together with the mentor can help him. Instead of taking a decision by his own, the mentor will help him to sort out the issue. There lies the importance of mentor. Always seek the help of mentor whenever there is a dilemma. And that's my suggestion, Arjun.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Narayanan. I love the fact when you mentioned the importance of consulting a mentor. Now, mentoring is one, I think, one point in Toastmasters that a lot of members are underutilizing, because I see a lot of members who are going to mentors for speeches. Now, I just wanted to understand your take once again, Narayanan, as to, is it only for the speeches that I need to go to a mentor, or is it for an entire project that I can go to a mentor? What is your opinion?
Thank you, Arjun. If you ask me, mentor is more than anyone else in our world to make a difference in our life. After this spouse, the only two people can make huge difference in our life. That is, one is our spouse, and the another one is the mentor. Both of us can make or break our life, but as you know, both of them will always support us and make our life in a better manner. So a mentor can help a mentee or a protege in all the fields in a Toastmasters meeting or in Toastmasters, whether it is something related with even professional, how this Toastmasters can project can be benefited in the personal life or professional life. This mentor can guide the protege. So when for each and everything, the mentee can approach the mentor. That is for all the progress, for all the development, for the entire life of a mentee in Toastmasters life, the mentor is responsible, I would like to say. That's why all the great Toastmasters all express their gratitude to their mentors whenever they are getting achievement, because they know that it is just because of the mentor they are become better today. So get the help of mentors for each and everything. That's my takeaway.
Wonderful. Absolutely. I echo with every word that you mentioned in terms of everything that a member does, responsibility definitely, or the credit also goes to the mentor as well. Beautifully said. And one more point which you mentioned is, of course, there are two people in certain that influence the most. One is the spouse, and the one is the mentor. In certain cases, the spouse becomes a mentor or the mentor becomes a spouse. You never know. Toastmasters, anything can happen anyway. But Diksha, this point which Narayanan was mentioning about, right? In terms of working with the mentor very specifically. Now, I also love the fact that the question that you ask your mentor makes a significant difference, and how we ask them. When you look at the electives that we have in pathways 3, 4, and 5, a lot of such electives are quite common. In what way will I be able to work with my mentor to specifically choose a specific elective and then progress toward my goal? What is your take on that part?
When you check in with your mentor, there has to be something that's clear in your mind as a protege. Whether you want to do something because it's easy or it's your strength, or you want to do something to improve on something that you're not good at. For instance, you might be a great topics master. Listening comes easy to you, giving feedback comes easy to you, which is why you'll take the elective active listening. Or maybe doing visual aids is not something that's easy, which is why you'll take up the elective to present using visual aid. So it's the job of the mentor to ask this question and the protege to self-assess to figure out what is that you're trying to achieve as a Toastmaster through this project. Once you have that clear in your mind, I'm sure certain projects will pop up to you and be more clear. Then again, there comes the question of what is doable and what's not doable at all. Serving at a volunteer organization may not be something that you can do at this moment. You don't have the bandwidth to do that. Whereas taking up panel discussion might be something that's feasible to you, in which case you would choose the latter. So you'll have to, the mentor will have to help the protege take up questions like what is feasible, what is your objective in trying to do these projects, and then what is something that you can do the most effectively. And if at all there are gaps to fill in, how the mentor can help to fill in and help you understand that better. Probably this two-way communication can help the ensuring that the project or level is accomplished the way it is supposed to be.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Diksha. Very important point that you brought out when it comes to the clarity that you have in terms of the skills that one really needs to work on. Now, Subbu, this exactly brings me to this important question. You are working on two pathways projects simultaneously. Now, how would you as a member work on a specific skill set? Because there are skills that you're working on as well. How is it that you're working on two projects or two paths separate simultaneously? And how can I as a member approach this differently as well?
Thank you for this query, Arjun. In fact, all it matters is it boils down to the priorities you have at that particular moment. Or if you have a speech which caters to a specific objective in a path. Like for example, visionary communication. Currently, I'm doing a project in level 3, wherein you need to give a speech on how to have a communication plan. So if you have a communication plan from your work experience, you can give that speech using that experience. At a particular time, you have a very funny story which you want to share with your listeners. Then you can definitely give that as part of your engaging humor speech. So I think it depends on what topic you have or what message you have at a particular moment. Or sometimes it also boils down to what is your priority and what you want to learn at a particular moment. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, Subbu. Thank you so much. And then that is what Subbu was mentioning in terms of approaching very specific projects in our work life as well, right? Now, you also brought that point of incorporating the learning in personal or professional lives. How I as a member can incorporate that particular aspect, because Pathways talks about specific projects that could be mostly useful in a corporate world as well. But how do I incorporate such learning as a member? Because the most important thing that we have to answer is not completing speeches, but more importantly, how do I incorporate such learning, implement what I learned? Could you please help us understand that?
Thank you, Arjun. All the paths are projecting or aiming for becoming a good leader. And finally, that leadership, it matters. That's why the tagline of Toastmasters itself is where leaders are made. The ultimate aim is leader, whether it is in a corporate field, whether it is in a professional, personal field or social life, the need is a leader. If we are, there are so many projects available for the leadership development. That is for dynamic leadership, the leadership development. And to become a leader, definitely we need strategic planning, motivational strategies. All these are looking for the enhancing the leadership skills. These leadership skills, when we achieve or when we understand what is a leadership skill and how to enhance it or how to implement in our life in the Toastmasters, then that can be implemented in our life as well. Because as we see in most of the projects, it is just not delivering speech alone. If you go through the pathways, we can see that we have to execute something, and based on that execution of that project, we have to deliver a speech. While executing those projects, we will come to know what is the skills we acquire and how this skills can be implemented. This knowledge will definitely help in the personal life and professional life, because the leadership skill is anywhere and everywhere. It is the same what we require, that we are learning from Toastmasters and can implement in other areas as well. That's my takeaway, Arjun.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Narayanan. Diksha, now one particular point that I want to ask you at this point is we have an educational profile in Pathways Basecamp, right? There are lots of resources that are there. There are lots of resources that we can upload as well. Like, for example, feedback that we get from speeches that we deliver. Is it really mandatory for us to upload, or how can we utilize the resources that are there or the facilities that are there in Pathways Basecamp for our betterment?
There are very few things that are mandatory when you're learning, unlike school and college, when it comes to Toastmasters International. So uploading a feedback is not mandatory, but then if forget about doing multiple parts like the distinguished Toastmasters here. Even if you're doing a single path, I'm sure by the time you reach level 2, you do not remember what happened during your icebreaker, which is where these facilities come in handy. Also, like it was mentioned earlier, sometimes there are resources which ensure that you think about various way of achieving the goal, but it does not tell you exactly how to do it, which is an advantage, because if you see someone doing an icebreaker, for instance, in a particular manner, and you do your icebreaker exactly the same way, just because your only resource is a person who performed before you, imagine how dull this entire program is going to be, where every single person's icebreaker is exactly the same. Which is why all these resources come in handy, because it explores you to think. It ensures that you evaluate yourself before a project, after a project, and it breaks down every single aspect of individual projects so that you understand uh, what you're expected to know at the end of it. And then it also ensures that you give it a thought whether you have ensured all these points were taken care of. So speech is probably the smallest aspect of the entire project. The whole thought process that goes before it takes more precedence.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Diksha. One last question before I open it up to the audience, and we'll have a couple of questions from there as well. Now, I want the opinions from all three of you on this particular question. We are living in a world that is hybrid. How do I really make use of the Pathways program in this kind of a world? Maybe, in a sentence or two, if you can briefly, all three of you can tell us, it would be great. Let's start with, let's say, Subramaniam this time.
Thank you, Arjun. For example, some of us are working in corporate environment, and we want to improve our own presentation skills. And in level 3, there's a elective giving a good presentation. So I think using either online or hybrid, I think we can improve on doing a very good presentation, not only limiting ourselves to using a PowerPoint, but even visual aid. I think that is something we can go out of our comfort zone and make the best use of it.
Super. Thank you. Thank you so much, Subbu. Narayanan, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Arjun. We say that the sea is same for everyone, but some find shells, some find fish, some find pearls from the sea. Just like that, the pathways is common to all of us. But what we need, we have to pick up. We have to select what is best suited for us. Discuss with our mentor and check what is the best needed for us, and pick up the pathway, pick up from the pathways. That's my takeaway.
Thank you, Narayanan. Diksha, what you?
We don't actually realize that the entire Pathways program is hybrid as well. Like it was pointed out earlier, there are aspects of it which are probably more effective on stage. Then there are certain aspects which ensure that you try to get as tech-savvy as possible, which is why this shall never be redundant. And the fact that you have to be an effective communicator, whether you're doing it face-to-face, whether you're doing it through a system, whether you're doing it over call, which is why the entire program remains relevant. All the strategies remain relevant, irrespective of whether it is in person or hybrid.
Awesome. Thank you, Diksha. I would like to get a couple of questions from the audience. You may please raise your hand, ask the question yourself, or we can put the question on the chat box as well. Do we have any questions from the audience? If you please scroll through the chat box. Really? Yes, we have Amit who is open to ask a question. Amit, you may please unmute. And
I'm fairly new to the Toastmasters. So once I select the pathway, what is the next step? So in the club, the speeches what I view, it should be relevant to the pathway I have chosen. How it happens?
Thank you, Amit. Once I select a path, what do I really do? That is the basic question over here. For this, I would love to hear from Narayanan.
Yeah, thank you, Amit, for the question. Once you select the path, you have to deliver the speech. But before delivering the speech, check with the mentor what are all the requirements to be met for that particular project. Discuss with the mentor is absolutely necessary, and most of us ignore those points because the mentor can help you in what way the speech can be delivered and make it better. Because the speech once you delivered may not be repeated in the especially in the pathways, because no evaluator will tell you to repeat a speech. So in that case, let us try to make each and every speech perfect, I would like to say. So to make your speech perfect, discuss with the mentor, and mentor will help you to make the speech better, and then practice it, deliver it.
Thank you so much, Narayan. Would any of the other two panelists want to add something to Amit?
I would suggest once you've chosen your path, of course, reach out to your mentor and also log into Toastmasters International website, check what is the syllabus for your first level. And then right now you have the freedom to choose any project at any time. So read through each project and see what is the objective of each project. Based on what material you have at hand or what you are currently prepared to do, choose what project you want to do next. And then again, reach back to your mentor and say, okay, this is my objective. Can you give me suggestions? Or if you have any ideas, run it by them, etc. And then start preparing. If you go through the material at hand, you yourself will understand what the project entails and how you can proceed further. So yeah, go through, it's more like exam preparation, go through the syllabus, figure out what needs to be done, and then decide how you want to do it.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Amit, for the question. Thank you, Diksha, as well. Any question from the audience? We'll take one more as well before we conclude.
Okay, I have a question with respect to this. See, all this, no, we have various kinds of pathways. For example, dynamic leadership or the leadership development or presentation mastery. So more or less everywhere, we can come across all this public speaking, communication skill. Let's say if I compare to our education system, more or less the first year is same, second year it is a little different, and then third year little more difference, and finally yes, they will achieve into the whatever. It could be a mechanical person will also attend, could be electronics, or imagine our present condition. Sundar Pichai is become mechanical, is basically from metallurgical engineering, is becoming the CEO of Google. Only at the final stage, no little changes it is there. In that aspect, let's say, is it I can say compared to between all these different pathways, see what is the percentage of similarity for decision making, or let's say when I come up to the 70%, if I find some other it is good for me. So how do we take decision on this?
Okay, thank you, Vishwanatha. To briefly summarize your question, multiple paths have similar projects. How do I really go about differentiating that particular aspect? May I request Subramaniam to take this piece?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I think all of us agree that the first two paths, they are very much similar, but still there are minor differences. For example, if you come to level 2 of engaging humor, there is a project known by name Know Your Sense of Humor. It may be available in other paths as elective, starting from level 3, but it is available as a core project in level 2 of engaging humor. Similarly, from level 2 onwards, you will from level 3 onwards, you will have core project as well as few electives. The core project, whatever you will have with respect to that particular path you have chosen, it will have a very unique project, which is like, for example, if you take effective coaching, there you are expected to share your experience where you have coached someone or you have helped someone to become better by coaching them. Similarly, if you take visionary communication, you need to give a speech where you have taken you have done an activity and developing a communication plan. So depending on the every one of 11 paths, starting from level 3, level 4, level 5, we have core projects. That's where I think we can differentiate. Still, I would say that if it's dependent on us how much we want to customize it, and we can have our own purpose depending on what is the core expectation from a particular path. We can have that as a purpose or intent in each of the speech, be it core speech or elective speech, in each of the part what we explore.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much, Subbu. Vishwanath, I hope that helps in understanding. We have one question from Manoj Mehta. Manoj, I presume this is the same question that you had.
Yeah.
During choosing...
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Please go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, thank you very much to giving me opportunity to ask a question. So my question, as Subbu has already clarified, like we have a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. So my thing is, because I have just joined maybe 20 days back only to the Toastmaster. So my question is to, like, for making a ice-breaking speech, so any fixed pattern we have to allow, use, or maybe I can use my practical experience in that to make that first ice-breaking speech on that particular.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, Manoj. First of all, welcome to Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Welcome to District 121.
Hello,
would like,
I'm audible?
Yes, very well, very clearly.
Hello.
Thank you for the question.
Hello.
I'd like Tisha to answer the question over here, please.
Yeah, I'm audible?
Yes, Manoj.
Yeah.
So, if you check your project icebreakers objective, it says speak for 4 to 6 minutes. And at the end of your speech, the audience should know something about you. And then the second thing being, your speech should be a regular speech, which should have intro and then body and then conclusion. That is it. So what aspect about you want the audience to know is left to you. It could be about the time you dreamt about being an astronaut, but you're stuck in front of a laptop today. It could be about your life from the minute you were born till the minute now. It can be absolutely anything, as long as it is something about you and it follows the objective of 4 to 6 minutes. And it has a structure in terms of how you begin, how you continue, and how you conclude. So that is all it is. And I'm sure, Manoj, you'll go forward to finishing many more parts. So you'll have to icebreaker multiple times, which is when you can show different aspects of you each time you give the same speech, which is the whole beauty about it. It does not tell you what to speak, but then it just gives you brief guidelines of how you can proceed further.
Thank you. Thank you very much to clarify on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Diksha. Thank you, Manoj, for the question. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have pretty much reached the end of this particular panel discussion. I'd like to request each of the panelists to, in one sentence, to talk about what they felt about the last almost an hour we spent on discussing various aspects about pathways. In one sentence, if you can tell us about your feeling and how this particular session helped you as a member. At the end of the day, every one of us over here are here to learn. So let's hear your thoughts. Let's start with Narayanan this time in one sentence. Narayanan, please go ahead.
It is really a wonderful session, and I hope the audience enjoyed, and let us have many more speeches, wonderful speeches, I would like to say, from the audience or from the Toastmasters. Thank you, Arjun.
Thank you, Narayanan. Diksha, over to you.
When you are walking along the pathway, sometimes you discover such sites that stops you and lets you rethink whether you're on the right path. So this was one such experience. So it was wonderful getting to interact with everyone across the district and being in this elite panel. So thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Diksha. Subbu, last but not the least.
I think learning from each other's experience and hearing about their own learnings, it's what is a takeaway experience for me from today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Subbu. Before I conclude, let me first thank all three panelists, Distinguished Toastmaster Narayanan, Distinguished Toastmaster Subramaniam, and Toastmaster Diksha for helping us understand how we as members can progress using the only educational program that we have in Toastmasters International, that's called as Pathways. So I just want to leave you with this one single thought that truly made a difference to my Toastmasters journey. It was in a small hotel on a very early morning on a Sunday. I met up with my mentor back then, distinguished Toastmaster Nikhil, and we were having a small discussion over breakfast. He said, Arjun, every Toastmaster speech is like a milestone speech. Imagine you would probably not deliver a speech after this particular point in time. How would you want your audience to feel about what you share, what you communicate, or the story that you share? Toastmasters experience is like that. It's a catalyst that can put you that can take you from where you are to where you want to be. And like our panelists today discussed and mentioned about, this is how you would want to take. Imagine this is particular thought of delivering this one last point that you want to deliver to your audience, to your listeners, and take your every project like that. That truly makes a significant difference to your progress. I hope this particular panel discussion and the knowledge that this particular panelists have shared would help you put your path to progress. Thank you for joining us today. Back to the MC, Toastmasters Satish.